Pakistan's youth abundance, a demographic dividend in peril. The looming employment crisis, Pakistan stands at a demographic crossroads. With over 60% of its population under the age of 30 and nearly 30% between 15 and 29, the country boasts one of the world's largest youth abundances. On paper, this should be a blessing, a vast pool of energetic, innovative, and adaptable workers capable of driving economic growth, technological advancement, and social transformation. In economic terms, this is known as a demographic dividend, a window of opportunity when a rising proportion of working-age people can boost productivity and national income if properly harnessed. Yet, for Pakistan, this potential dividend teeters dangerously on the edge of becoming a demographic disaster. The promise of the youth abundance, a youthful population, can be an engine of prosperity. Countries like South Korea, Singapore, and more recently India and Vietnam have leveraged their young workforces to fuel rapid industrialization and export-led growth. For Pakistan, with its growing consumer base, entrepreneurial spirit among Gen Z, and increasing digital connectivity, the opportunity remains real, but only if accompanied by strategic investment in education, skills, infrastructure, and job creation. The World Bank estimates that if Pakistan were to fully capitalize on its youth abundance, it could add up to 2% annually to its GDP growth over the next decade. That would translate into millions of new jobs, reduced poverty, and a stronger middle class, the bedrock of sustainable development. The reality: unemployment, underemployment, and skills deficit. Unfortunately, the reality on the ground tells a different story. According to the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, PBS, youth unemployment hovers around 10 to 12%, significantly higher than the national average. Among university graduates, the rate climbs even higher, reaching 15–20% in some provinces. These figures mask a deeper crisis: underemployment. Many young Pakistanis are forced into informal, low-wage, or part-time work that fails to utilize their education or potential. Worse still is the pervasive lack of skill development. Over 60% of Pakistan's youth leave school without any formal vocational training. Technical and vocational education and training, TVET institutions, remain underfunded, poorly managed, and disconnected from industry needs. As a result, employers complain of a skills gap. They cannot find qualified candidates even as millions of young people search in vain for decent employment. Education versus market needs. A growing mismatch. Perhaps the most critical failure lies in the disconnect between what Pakistan's education system produces and what the labor market demands. Universities churn out thousands of graduates each year in fields such as arts, humanities, and general business studies, many of which offer little direct relevance to today's evolving economy. Meanwhile, sectors like information technology, renewable energy, advanced manufacturing, logistics, and healthcare face acute shortages of skilled professionals. This mismatch is not accidental. It stems from decades of policy neglect, outdated curricula, insufficient public-private collaboration, and a cultural bias toward prestigious degrees over practical, market-oriented qualifications. The result? Graduates enter the workforce unprepared. Employers struggle to fill vacancies, and young people become disillusioned, sometimes turning to migration, informal entrepreneurship, or worse, radicalization or crime. The social and political fallout when a generation is denied economic opportunity. The consequences ripple far beyond economics. High youth unemployment correlates strongly with social unrest, political instability, and increased vulnerability to extremist ideologies. Pakistan's cities already see rising frustration among educated youth who feel abandoned by the state. Without meaningful engagement and pathways to productive livelihoods, this discontent may escalate, threatening not just economic growth, but national cohesion. Moreover, the gender dimension cannot be ignored. Female labor force participation in Pakistan remains among the lowest in the world, hovering around 22%. This represents not only a moral failing but also a massive waste of human capital. Empowering young women through education, skills training, and inclusive labor policies could unlock tremendous economic potential. Yet systemic barriers persist. Pathways. Forward. From crisis to opportunity. To transform its youth abundance from a ticking time bomb into a demographic dividend, Pakistan must act decisively and comprehensively, reform education and vocational training, align curricula with market demands, integrate STEM, digital literacy, and soft skills into mainstream education, expand access to high-quality TVET programs, particularly in emerging sectors like AI, green tech, and e-commerce, strengthen public-private partnerships, encourage industries to co-design training programs, offer apprenticeships, and invest in youth development initiatives. Tax incentives and subsidies can motivate private sector involvement. Invest in job creation. Prioritize labor-intensive sectors. Agriculture modernization, SME development, construction and services while fostering innovation hubs and startup ecosystems. Special Economic Zones, SEZs, must deliver on promises of job creation, not just investor perks. Enhance youth engagement and governance. Create platforms for youth participation in policymaking. Strengthen institutions that support entrepreneurship, mentorship, and career counseling. Combat corruption and nepotism that block merit-based opportunities. Promote gender equality. Remove legal, cultural, and infrastructural barriers, preventing women from entering and thriving in the workforce. Invest in childcare, safe transportation, and workplace protections. Leverage technology and digital platforms. Use mobile apps, online courses, and remote work opportunities to reach youth in rural areas. Digital skilling can democratize access to global markets and freelance economies. Actually, time is running out for Pakistan. Pakistan's youth abundance will not wait. The window of demographic opportunity is narrowing. As today's youth mature, they will either become the backbone of a thriving economy or the tinderbox of social unrest. The choice is not merely economic. It is existential. Policymakers, educators, business leaders, and civil society must come together to build a future where every young Pakistani has the chance to contribute meaningfully to the nation's progress. Failure to do so risks squandering the greatest asset Pakistan possesses, its people. The demographic dividend is not guaranteed. It must be earned through vision, investment, and above all, urgency.